You wake because you cannot breathe. It is not a dream. The darkness above your bed is moving, grey and alive, and somewhere below in the street, a woman is screaming a single word again and again. Fire. Your heart is already running before your feet touch the floor. Hours ago this was an ordinary night. Let the memory come back to you now, before the flames take it, the city as it was, whole, sleeping, and utterly unaware. You live 4 floors up in an insula, a tenement stacked so high the top rooms lean toward their neighbors across the alley. Timber, mud brick, and cloth, a whole quarter built like kindling waiting for a match. Below you, shuttered shops still hold oil, pitch, and dry grain. Rome holds 1 million souls, more than any city the world has ever built. It feeds itself on grain ships and river barges, and it burns small fires every summer without much thought. You have smelled smoke on hot nights before. You went back to sleep. It is the 18th of July. A dry wind has been blowing off the hills for days, and the streets are so narrow that in places you can touch both walls at once. Remember this, the wind, the timber, the alleys. Tonight they will decide who lives. Down at the eastern end of the Circus Maximus, among the little shops selling lamp oil and cheap wine, a spark finds something dry. No one is quite sure how. But the fire that starts there tonight will not stay small. The wind takes it like a gift. Fed by the long arcade of shops and the open channel of the racetrack, the fire stretches sideways faster than a man can walk. By the time the first bells ring, a wall of flame is running along the circus. Now the smoke is in your room, and the light beneath the door is no longer a glow, but a furnace. You seize your children by the wrists, you shout for your neighbor across the hall, and you throw yourself at the wooden stairs that are the only way down. The stairwell is chaos, bodies pressing down, a lamp knocked loose, an old man fallen, and no one able to stop. You keep your hand locked on the small hands you carry. To let go on these stairs is to lose them forever. You spill out into the street, and the heat hits you like a slap. The whole block across the alley is already gone, its balconies collapsing in showers of sparks. There is no direction that is safe, only directions that are less on fire. The alleys that made Rome feel cozy now trap you. Every turn is a wall of people running the wrong way, carts overturned, a mule screaming in the smoke. You choose downhill, always downhill, toward the river you cannot yet see. A woman thrusts a bundle into your arms without a word, a baby wrapped tight, and is gone into the smoke before you can refuse. You do not know her. You will carry that child until you cannot. Tonight, strangers become the only family that matters. Some men are not running. You see them dragging cartloads of goods the wrong way, into the fire, laughing. Are they looters, or are they spreading the flames on someone's orders? In the confusion of a burning city, no one can tell a thief from an arsonist. You reach a small square and stop, chest heaving, to count the ones you love. Your neighbor is not behind you, neither is the old man from the stairs. The fire takes people quietly, in the gaps between one breath and the next. There is no army of firefighters coming to save this quarter. Rome has watchmen with buckets and hooks, meant for one house at a time, not for a fire that has already eaten a mile of the city. Tonight you save yourself or you do not. They try to make a fire break, tearing down houses to starve the flames of fuel, but the wind laughs at them. Burning fragments leap the gaps and land 3 streets away, and a new fire blooms behind you where you thought you were safe. By dawn the fire has not slowed, it has grown into something with its own weather. Hot air spirals upward and the flames breathe, pulling in wind to feed themselves. The morning sun rises brown behind a curtain of smoke you can taste. You climb the slope of the Palatine with the crowd, seeking high ground, and turn to look back. From here you can see it whole. The fire is not a fire anymore. It is a sea, and the city is drowning in it. And now the question moves through the crowd like a fever. Where is the emperor? Where is Nero while his people burn? He is not in Rome. He is 30 miles away at his villa by the sea, at Antium, where he was born. When word reaches him, they say Nero races back to the city. He throws open his own gardens and the public buildings to the homeless. He orders grain brought in and its price cut. Whatever else is true of him, he does not simply watch you starve. But another story spreads faster than the relief. They whisper that as Rome burned, the emperor climbed a private tower, took up his lyre, and sang of the fall of Troy, comparing your suffering to an old poem. You do not know if it is true, neither will history. Rumor is its own kind of fire. In the camps, it spreads that men were seen throwing torches and claiming they only followed orders. Some blame Nero himself. The truth is buried under 1,000,000 frightened people, each one certain of what they saw. You do not care, in this hour, who is to blame. You care that the child in your arms is still breathing, that the water in the aqueduct fountain is still running, and that the wind has not yet turned toward the hill where you are hiding. The second night falls, and the fire has not paused for darkness. Whole temples that stood for 400 years are gone, the shrine of the household gods, the hearth of the Vestals, the memory of the city itself turning to embers. You share a strip of dry ground with people you will never see again. A senator's wife sits beside a baker, both blackened, both silent. The fire has stripped away every rank you were born into. Tonight there is only smoke, and the ones who survive it. On the third day, hope. They tell you the fire has been checked at the foot of the Esquiline Hill, beaten back at last by demolished houses and open ground. You let yourself breathe. You should not have, for the fire is not finished with Rome. It flares again in a different quarter, on wide new ground, and the rumor sharpens that this second blaze was set deliberately, that someone wanted the burning to go on. Suspicion now spreads as fast as the flames. Day 4, day 5. You have lost count of the nights. You move like the others move now, slowly, coughing, your eyes ringed with ash, carrying whatever the fire left you. The city has become a country of the homeless, wandering its own ruins. You pass the great circus where it began, now a blackened skeleton of scorched stone. The place where crowds once roared for the races is silent, but for the wind moving through cinders. You cannot look away, and you cannot bear to look. On the 6th day, the flames finally fail, not because men beat them, because the fire runs out of city to eat, dying at last against the demolished ground and the open hills. 6 days and 7 nights. When it stops, the silence is almost unbearable. Now you can count the wound. Of the 14 districts of Rome, only 4 still stand whole. 3 are erased to bare, ash-black ground. 7 more are gutted and half-ruined. The greatest city on earth has been broken across the middle. You walk back toward where your home once stood. There is no street to recognize, no doorway, no stair. Only a field of gray rubble where a whole neighborhood of lives was stacked 5 floors high. You stand on the ash, and you cannot even find the shape of it. The searching begins. Across the ruins, people move like ghosts, calling names into the ash, turning over stones. Some find each other and weep. Some search for days and stop only when there is no strength left to hope. And the child the stranger gave you, you carry it still, alive, to the relief camps, and you place it in the arms of the women tending the orphaned. You will never know its name or its mother's fate. You will remember its weight for the rest of your life. The emperor moves quickly. He clears the rubble at his own cost, dumps it in the marshes, plans a new Rome of wide streets and stone porticos, so this can never happen again. The city will be more beautiful. That does not bring back what the ash is holding. But the whisper against Nero will not die. To turn the anger away from himself, he needs someone to blame, a group already feared and misunderstood. He points at a small sect of Christians, and the city, desperate for a reason, believes him. What follows is a cruelty the poet Tacitus will record with disgust. The accused torn by dogs, crucified, burned as living torches in the emperor's gardens. Even people who hated them begin to pity them. A fire that started in oil shops ends in this. On the cleared ground where your quarter once stood, the emperor begins to build for himself a golden palace, a private lake, gardens for one man where 100,000 once lived. The people notice, they do not forget. You are only one Roman among a million, and history will not write your name. It will argue for 2,000 years about how the fire started and whether the emperor sang. But you were there. You know what a thing like this actually costs, because you paid it. Rome will rise again from your ashes, wider and grander than before, its new stone streets a monument to a night it would rather forget. Nero will fall within 4 years, and the Golden Palace will be buried beneath the works of the emperors who follow. But you carry the fire inside you always. The smell of smoke on a summer night will stop your heart for the rest of your years. You have learned the thing every survivor learns, how quickly a whole world can turn to ash while you sleep. Ask yourself now, in the dark before you sleep, if you woke tonight to smoke and screaming, what would you save first? Who would you carry? A burning city gives you only seconds to answer and no chance to change your mind. The Great Fire of Rome was real. 6 days, 7 nights, 3 districts erased, 7 more in ruins, in the summer of the year 64. The people who lived it were as real as you are, with names now lost, and terror we can only imagine. You lived a night that history only wrote down. Now you carry it, the smoke, the strangers, the weight of a child you saved. If this night stayed with you, subscribe to Chronicles Unlived, and step into the next moment the past left behind.